Hi, we're live.
Hi,
Hello,
Jasmine.
everyone. Hi,
Hi,
Patrick.
everyone.
How are you?
Excellent. How are you?
I'm good. Great. It's good to be here. Hello, everyone. I'm the cultural movement architect from Shufa Foundation. My name is Jasmine. Together, we're with solution focused program architect Patrick. Say hi to everyone.
Yeah, hi, everyone. So I'm Patrick. I'm also from Shufa Foundation. So today is a great honor to have this wonderful conversation with our host here, Jasmine. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for everyone who tuned into this the second episode of Here Comes Shufa. I guess everyone would probably be wondering why we're talking about the connection between Shufa and AI because our topic today is brush your way through AI era, right? AI age. So I guess later today we're gonna dive deeper into why there's a connection between the two, and then the benefit of AI, and then maybe the benefit and doubt of the AI, and then maybe the benefits of the Shufa and how it can bring good to our life.
Yeah. So stay tuned. It's going to be a really exciting conversation to all of us. Yeah.
So I guess I can start by saying I think I'm probably belong to like the older generation. I think right now everywhere I travel I meet everyone and everyone is worried about how AI might replace partially our job, and I think AI bring a lot of convenience, like for example NNN can streamline your workflow, and like cloud can become your assistant that can finish your job, help you in day-to-day life. So AI actually brings a great deal of benefits. But I think right now we're constantly seeing a lot of interesting, funny, cute content online. But we started questioning, like, is it AI generated? Is it real? And I think that brings to the topic today. And I think that's also a phenomenon this in this generation, because the younger generation are living in an era that we have to be adaptive and we have to be hyper vigilant because we always need to learn something new and always need to be on to next new tools. And so the survival instinct, and then the survival instinct is different, and then to cultivate a different leadership in your workplace is also different. So how do we survive in this era and still be able to remain a true self? This is why we're here today.
Yeah. And I would say that's a very great observation and really a important topic for all of us to think about, Jasmine. Especially when AI is evolving at, I would say, at an exponential rate that we are just barely, we're not even able to catch up for any normal people, right? So a lot of people that I've been speaking to, especially parents, because I'm a parent as well. So many people will still have this kind of mentality. Oh, I just have to have my kid to go through a good education system, finish their university, get their degree, and come up here and get a good job, and that will be the good rest of their life. That and I want to say, that formula used to work when I was a kid. Yeah, but now the things in the world are moving so fast that this may no longer be the case when my kids gets to the university age. People, because now AI is making knowledge or information very accessible at a very economical cost. So there's so it's really changing the way for us to get knowledge. And if people are getting knowledge through other ways apart from attending a post-secondary education or even higher, then we are also not getting the so-called network of those elite people that people used to known for as a part of the reason to go to universities. So the world is really undergoing a vast change, and many people still are not sure how to adapt to it, right? Um, on the other hand, we've also worked in a really routine life. So in the way that I described how the past successful formula, where people they go to work and they act as a screw of the society, or as a component of the society to keep the society running. It's people can get by without giving much thought apart from their routine work. So they just go to work and repeat the work that they've been doing every day, and then they go home and do and move on to other things, right? But with the introduction of AI, where all the routine works are slowly getting replaced by the use of AI, we are now forced to really think about who we want to become. What kind of person do we want to be? What values do we really embrace? And what kind of benefit am I? How am I going to benefit the world, the society, as my personal contribution to the world? These are the things that we were never questioned when we were at school. Because when we were at school, we are always told, just study your science, study your math, get
Because you're gonna become a doctor, lawyers in the future.
yeah,
That's
and
our generation.
exactly something like that, right? And that was the formula for success. And now we have to really figure out who we are, because the world is changing. The future for company to talk to each other, can be just some key people in the team, where each person is leading a group of AI agent to get the things done at the back end. So the requirement, the kind of the what's required are really, really going to be different from what we used to get by before. So I have quite a few friends who are really AI savvy. They're tech savvy people, and they know how to use AI. But they often come to me and they say, Patrick, I know how to use AI, but I have one problem. The problem is I don't know what to use the AI tools to create for. What am I going to use them for? So this all goes back to our creativity with the human mind, right? What exactly is it that I want to do? What exactly is it that I want to build? And the reason why I want to build this is because this is aligned to my interest. This is aligned to my purpose. And I would like to have the help of AI to help me to reach that goal. But without the exploration of who we really are and what we really want to do, we're just left with a bunch of tools, really advanced tools and maybe tokens, but we don't know what to do with them. So getting in touch with the humanity, I would say is even the liberation of human consciousness is probably the utmost important thing that we need to explore for the next decade or so. Yeah, what do you think, Jasmine?
Yeah, I just feel people are generally anxious about things in life, like what is the next bags to buy for some ladies, and what is next car to chase for mid-age crisis, and just through this AI era, a lot of people forgot to seek yourself and find the true voice through different practice. And I think that's the reason why we start or restart practicing Shufa, because Shufa can help us achieve a lot of things that AI cannot train people to do, right? Because like arts, Shufa, aka Chinese calligraphy, would be able to help us not only to be expressive, but also nurture clarity and inner peace. And that's the benefit of what Shufa brings to me. And I think some of you might practice yoga and might play music or do pottery or painting, and all of that art form is to help you cope with the stress. And that's very important in life, because we're living um, in this era, because we don't know if we're at work, we're training next AI to replace us, right?
Mhm.
So people are generally anxious and worried now.
Yeah, it's really putting people into high anxiety mode because people are unsure of how the future is going to look like, right? So it is really important for us in this stage of in time to have the ability to ground ourselves. To and by grounding, it really means to have a strong sense of self-awareness, to get in touch with our inner state, understand how we are. And I think, like you said, calligraphy or Shufa, it's a great way for us to cultivate that inner peace. And people may say, "Oh, this is so abstract. So how is that linking to Shufa, right?" It's because when we do Shufa, Shufa is something that back in ancient times, people used to do every day because that's one standard way for them to communicate with each other or to share ideas with each other. But really, what they didn't realize is that this Shufa really has um, a really important self-awareness power lies within, because it is what helped us to keep alignment. So, for example, if I'm writing something, if I'm writing a piece of article, I have to make sure that article that I write is authentic to my voice, is authentic to what I would like to express. So in a way, it has to align to my thought, and it has to align to my emotion, because there is a emotion that's driving me to write this article. And what is that emotion, right? So as I put down all this mentality, all this emotion onto that piece of paper through the brush, it's really a fantastic way for us to record our current state at the time.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Shufa, or Chinese calligraphy, it's a reflection of our emotional ups and downs. Through every brush stroke, you can actually let your breath soften, and then let your focus settle, and then finally your mind learn to move with ease. So that's all the benefit coming from practicing calligraphy. That's why we call it meditation in motion.
Yeah, and when I used to work in the big corporation, Shuva and Tai Chi were the two things that helped me to stay calm. And even as of today, if you look at some of the top executives of the major corporations in Asian country, so for example in Taiwan, right, um, many of them are practicing Shufa as well, because that is one good way for them to keep clarity, to keep that sense of grounding, for them to have a good understanding of themselves and how they formulate their strategy according to their personality and to their preference, or to the team's preference. Yeah, so it is a really fantastic way that for us to understand our inner being, and that is something that AI cannot replace at all, because this experience is highly experiential. It's not just sharing information, right? If you ask AI can give you tons of information on how to write calligraphy, but it is until the moment when you pick up the brush and allow your body and your mind to experience that holistically, only then we can have that sensation, that experience that cannot be expressed by words.
That is why I would like to say, like, authenticity over perfection, right? Because in every artistic expression like calligraphy, there's no right or wrong. And to actively practice it and to appreciate it later, it can transform experience into connection. And it helped me, well, I believe it helped all of us to cope with stress when we face challenge. And maybe a little bit story behind how I come by the Shufan Foundation. 2 years ago, when I was in Taiwan for loss of my family member, I was grieving. I was dealing with a lot of things. While I want to show my friends from Mauritius around Taiwan, like on behalf of Taiwan, I love to show you my country, right? So somehow he found this calligraphy class online, and I was so excited. So I was wondering, how would you understand calligraphy and practice it if you don't understand Mandarin or Chinese, right? But I went, and so like all of us, almost all of us, grow up in Taiwan, practice calligraphy, or play instrument. Like for me, it's piano. So it's not new to me. But seeing how my Mauritius friend learned calligraphy and then would be able to find connections with this 3,000-year culture tradition, it's truly amazing and truly phenomenal. And he would like to even continue after I come back to Canada. So this is a very profound experience for me. And that's why I think calligraphy also transform experience into connection. Through this, I believe I can connect with many people around the world. And that's also the reason why the existence of Shufa Foundation, right?
Yeah, it's yeah. Thank you so much for sharing your experience there, Jasmine. And I think you've hit you're really bang on one of the concept is that people don't really need to know Chinese to enjoy the power of calligraphy. Um, it's because when we focus on giving out that stroke, when we focus on using that stroke and the emptiness on that piece of paper to balance, it's really a true reflection of our inner state at the time and who we really are. I usually see those lines, those emptiness as a rhythm in our heart that's being expressed, that's dancing on that piece of paper. Yeah. So one of the practice that I usually do together with people is we would try to play different kind of music and just observe how the flow of the brush will change when the music changes, because that's how we resonate with the music, and that immediately shows on the piece of paper. So it's a really really interesting experience that everybody can enjoy and become mindful of. And also, when you don't understand Chinese, you have that advantage of not being influenced by the context of what's being written, but
Definitely.
really focusing on the quality and the expression of that particular stroke and the flow of the brush, and to understand the authentic meaning behind that stroke that you create. And I think that's a really, really wonderful experience right there.
I think that's what we're all seeking right now in the AI age, the authenticity of everything. Um, like a project that created by AI, you can tell it's almost too perfect. And I also have another experience I want to share. So the other day, I was creating a website for a friend, and I shared this website and then the logo with another friend, and I want her authentic, real response. But what I got very interesting is that she asked ChatGPT and Gemini, and she copy and paste all her all the feedback from ChatGPT and Gemini to me,
Uh-huh.
and that tells me the connection is different because I what I want is that I want your real opinion, right? If I want ChatGPT, I will also go to ChatGPT. So that's also is the reason why we want to talk about the connection between the AI and the authenticity in life now.
And if you don't mind me ask, how did you feel when you received that response from your friend that's done by
Well,
ChatGPT?
it's I feel really complicated. I feel happy, and I also feel I feel torn. But because she's a really really good friend, so I just be blunt with her and I said, "Oh, I really want your honest feedback, right?"
So
So
you would be longing for the honest feedback.
yeah, definitely. I think that's why we want the real thing in life right now.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's really similar to doing calligraphy as well. If you write a stroke on a piece of paper that has no friction whatsoever, we cannot make the stroke as good as it is. We always need the paper to provide that certain level of friction for us to write a good stroke. So it's just like how we are in real life, right? If we connect with others without any friction, it's probably not going to be as valuable experience as if we receive a balanced amount of friction. And that's going to make our work, our expression even more beautiful as they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think this has been a great conversation that we've had, Jasmine.
Thank you so much, Patrick. And I thank you for everyone who tuned in today. And I really hope that how calligraphy help us cultivate calm, creativity, and achieve connection. All of this, I hope that it also resonate with you today. And so if you like to understand or further understand a little bit more about us and how the calligraphy class we provide, please like and subscribe.
Yeah, absolutely. Because calligraphy, Shufa, I see it as an important skill to possess in the next decade or so. So let's all jump in. It's really a lot of fun. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Jasmine. And thank you
Thank
all for
you.
watching. And we'll see you next time.
I'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye now.